This week on HomeKit News, the Aqara Climate Monitor W100 with Matter, Thread and Zigbee. Welcome back everybody. Today we're looking at one of two recently released Aqara devices, and as you can probably guess by the text on the box, this is the Chinese model of the Climate Sensor W100. This will work with Apple Home and all Matter platforms using Matter over Thread or Zigbee, and this is also probably the first Aqara product I've seen with the Home Assistant logo on the box. As this is the Chinese model, all the specs are listed in Chinese, but we'll look at those shortly anyway. One thing to note is that the W100 comes in two versions, the THS04E that comes with a desktop stand only, and the THS04D which also comes with a magnetic wall mount and screws, which is the one I have today. Onto the specs, so pause the video if needed. So the W100 is roughly the same size as a European switch, 86 by 86 millimeters, and offers a temperature and humidity sensor plus 3 programmable buttons. You can also connect this to either a Thread border router using Matter over Thread or to an Aqara Zigbee hub using Zigbee. Let's have a look what's in the box now. And so we get a manual, with this being in Chinese of course, although the international release will be in multiple languages. There are a pair of screws and raw plugs to use with the magnetic wall plate. There's the climate sensor itself of course, and finally a desktop stand. Let's take a closer look now, starting with the W100 itself, which I have to say feels fairly well designed and made, as do all the parts that come with it, like the mounting plate and the desktop stand. The stand clips into a recess at the back like so, allowing you to then sit it on a shelf or desktop. This same recessed hole can be used to fit the W100 to a wall with a simple nail or screw, so even if you have the base model, it can still be wall mounted. I'll remove the stand now, and looking at the wall plate you can see the 4 holes for screws, with 2 of them also with a metal surround. These are magnetic and help the W100 stay in place when placed in the mounting plate. However, the wall plate doesn't come with any adhesive stickers, so if you don't want to use the screws, you'll have to source some stickers for yourself. If I take the back cover off, you can see a metal bracket to keep the 2 CR2450 batteries in place. You also get 2 QR codes, one for Matter and one for Aqara. You shouldn't need the Aqara QR code if adding it to the Aqara app using Zigbee, but you might need it if you're using Matter over Thread. If you're going to use it as a sensor and wireless controller only, you'll see the following, which is the main temperature and humidity readings for the device itself, along with an optional secondary set of readings from an additional sensor you tie to the W100, which I believe is only possible with other Aqara sensors. If, like me, you plan to use this as an AC controller too, you'll see this additional information in the center for the AC controls it works with. More on that later. I'm going to add this to both Aqara and Apple Home, starting with the former. As you can see, as soon as it's powered, the Aqara app discovers it immediately. Even though the international model should default to Matter over Thread, it seems the Chinese model is set to Zigbee, which in my case is fine as I need Zigbee for AC control anyway. I'll go through the setup process and add it to an Aqara hub as normal. After a short period it's ready to go, so I just need to do the usual and name the device and the individual sensors, as well as place them in a room, and it's all set up and ready to go. As you can see, I've got the sensor readings, but there's no thermostat or AC connected yet, which I'll do later. In the meantime, I'll head over to Apple Home, and if I scroll down you can actually see 2 tiles. There's this one for the 3 buttons, and if I dive deeper you can see each of the 3 buttons offers single, double and long press. I won't be using these though, as you'll see later. Going back, the second tile is home to 2 sensors, which is a bit unique as sensors are normally not assigned to a tile anymore. Going deeper you can see the buttons and sensors are all grouped together. Other than that you get the battery levels, and that's about it. What I've longed for from Aqara is AC control without wires, and this can offer just that in a sense. So currently it works with their radiator thermostat E1, mostly for European users, and it'll also work with the M3's AC control function in Aqara and Apple Home, as well as the AC Companion P3, which only came out in China. I actually have two of these P3 units myself, and they have an IR blaster built in that can be used to control AC units and be exposed to Apple Home, as well as control and monitor the power going to the AC unit itself. Now this is a 16 amp Chinese plug, so it's larger than standard. I've paired the W100 to one of my P3s, so you can see the linked temperature sensor is listed at the bottom. And if I go into the linked thermostat settings, you can see currently I have the P3 connected with the option to connect the M3 if I wish. I can actually already control my AC with the following devices, all of which I have, like the Scene Panel S1, the Magic Pad S1, or the Magic Panel S1E. You can check out the separate video for these three devices via the link in the corner of the screen. Now I can also control my AC with the Panel Hub S1 Plus that I also recently reviewed. Unfortunately, as good as those devices are, they still require wired power, which is what I'm trying to get away from. Point in case is the current AC controller in our bedroom by Tado. This has served me well for years, but with the dangling wire and the use of Wi-Fi, it's finally time to make way for the W100. Here's the W100 mounted, and as you can see we have those extra AC controls I was mentioning. Once I press the middle button, the word set appears, allowing me to use the plus and minus buttons to adjust the temperature like so. Another press allows me to select the mode, which currently only offers cool, auto or heat. Another press of the middle button then moves me onto the fan speed with options for auto and high, medium or low speeds. Incidentally, although I don't show it, long pressing on the middle button for 2 seconds turns the AC on or off. Pressing either of the plus or minus buttons also turns the AC on by default. If I press and hold both the plus and minus buttons together for 2 seconds, it activates the child lock to stop curious wandering hands. You can also deactivate the child lock in the same manner. Swiftly onto the pros and cons now, and Aqara has made great strides into moving towards Matter and Thread, which is admirable considering they're coming from a Zigbee ecosystem. Best of all though is many of their new products also support Zigbee as well as Thread, so it's a win-win for consumers. As already stated, the fact that I can replace my wired and Wi-Fi using Tado for a wire-free Zigbee option goes another step further to reducing my use of Wi-Fi devices where possible. If you're not using it for AC control, it's great to have a sensor that shows readings and offer 3 multi-programmable buttons in one device, and a device that can fit in your hand and be carried around too, so that's another plus. The one negative is that they didn't use an e-ink display, which is a bit strange considering they did use e-ink with their TVOC sensor. E-ink makes the display a lot easier to read, but I can live with the standard LCD in this case. So that's our take on the Aqara Climate Monitor W100. Is this something you might find a use for, and would you use the buttons or the AC control? Let me know in the comment section below, and if you've got any questions on this or any of my other videos, ask away and I'll always reply. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, show some love by giving it a like, share if you can, and do subscribe if you haven't done so already. It just remains for me to leave you with this week's words of wisdom, and this time from the American writer and social critic James Baldwin. So see you next time.